you may have noticed, we've been joined by a very special guest who's now going to do a question and answer session. So if you'd like to take to the stage.
Oh, great! Only rude questions, please.
In that case, I'll start with one that was submitted to the website. Did you keep the Union Jack underpants, and do you still wear them?
I'm trying to remember, what's the express commando now? But a British commando. Yeah. I never really remember the underpants. I know I did wear them. It was more the waistcoat, obviously, but I obviously did wear them. But I think that was just once or twice. Americans are always impressed by the fact.
They've obviously stuck in the mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Filthy mind.
You mentioned on the one show that your two ambitions were to be on top of the Pops and score a goal for England.
Yes.
Obviously, you've done top of the Pops.
My grandfather scored a goal for England.
That's where I was going to go.
Sadly, I haven't got near that. But it is one of those sort of boyhood dreams to score a goal for your football club, England or Derby County. Either would have done actually, but I haven't done that. But going on top of the Pots, it's one of those. That was sort of such fun for us, was that it didn't matter. It wasn't our job, you know. But to go on there, it's just you couldn't lose. I mean, even if it was embarrassing, it was just fun to do it. The extraordinary thing, looking back, we were in our 30s then, but we seem incredibly old compared with everybody, well, most other people on the show. That was very strange when you think about, nowadays you think of a 30-odd-year-old, even once here, and you think that's quite young. But not compared with an 18-year-old pop star who was going to be elbowed out by his management probably the following week, which is sadly what happened to us all.
How many times were you on top of the Pops?
I'm not sure. I think we're live. I don't know whether there's a difference between appear. And there's a man. 3, was it?
Well, I think you've probably done near 7 or 8.
Certainly appearances. There were quite a few, yeah. The difficulty was we couldn't have a backing track. We had to have a live band, and that was quite tricky actually, because that band they've got to learn it. Whereas almost every other group, if they played instruments, could have a backing track at least of the band and the mix. So they're pretty good, the band, I have to say. But if you think they're playing it for the first time, and usually probably only about 10 minutes to rehearse it, it's quite tricky. So we never quite got it on as we'd like to. Now, of course, they just move their lips. That would have been much easier. Then Graham would still look embarrassed.
Was Graham really as terrified and embarrassed by it as he
He wasn't terrified, no, he was embarrassed. I think I was. And Bill wasn't. I think you can safely say. But at the same time, it was quite frightening, you know, just going on there. We did do retakes. It wasn't live, that one, so we did do live ones, and those were quite frightening. I thought this is the moment where it all comes unstuck, and we get our just desserts, basically. But it was a very exciting time, because you waited literally to the last minute to know where you were in the charts. And some weeks it was. I actually thought Funky Given was going to go to #1. Everybody seemed to, and then suddenly it didn't make it. I suddenly thought, I'm taking this too seriously. Although I wish it had been #1, obviously.
So do we all.
But in between, it sold more, of course, but it was a more difficult and Christmassy. So a lot of very big sellers at that time.
I understand, or I'm told that you were backing vocals for David Essex at one point on Top of the Pops?
Yeah, well, sort of. Yeah. We interrupted Paul McCartney by saying things in the middle of his bit as well. We were asked to. I'm trying to remember what it was. It's one of his songs where, oh yes, there's somebody in the background, so we were asked to do it.
We're going to make you a star, I think.
Yes,
that's
I
what
think
I
that's
remember.
right, actually, yes, it would.
So much more than a pretty face.
Yeah, exactly. David Essex, I don't know, I honestly don't think that's true. I didn't really like David Essex. I might have given back on you.
was there sort of a point in your life where you thought comedy, football, law, you sort of had to give up the sporting ideas and go forward for something else? Or?
Sadly not. I wish I'd been in that position to thought that's an alternative. But to be honest, I never thought comedy was an alternative either. It was just one of those things that happened. So I wouldn't have dared think I could go into comedy at this sort of age or thinking playing football for England. I certainly wouldn't have been good enough to play football for England. Only in my brain I could do that. And I scored about 20 goals from England in my brain. I was unlucky not to get more, to be honest. I'm sure I was playing with.
I'm sure it's the referee's fault.
Yeah.
You're still sort of obviously, you like your cricket and your golf and things like that. You've played golf with all sorts of people.
Yes.
Any stories? Anyone who sort of loses their temper when they miss the hole?
There are a lot of bad people. But there's some good ones, like even those who don't know about golf and don't care about golf know Seve Ballesteros. And I played with him, and he was just one of the nicest men I've ever met. It was actually quite frightening, because I was told I was going to play with him at the very last swim. The girl came on and said, and there were two other amateurs there, I said, "I'm going to play with Mr. Ballesteros." and then he arrived, and it was like God arriving somehow. Of course, he had the biggest crowd. He won the competition, which was the Birmingham Masters, and he won the whole thing in the next 4 days. But he had this huge crowd, so mixed feelings is really, you're going to play in front of this very big crowd, but you want to play with Seve. I was so nervous. There is a picture which was on the back of my notebook. I don't know if you can see it in there, but I actually cut my finger trying to get the ball out of the bag. I was so nervous. And the guy said, "Tim, would you mind having your picture taken with Seve?" Would I mind? And I think you may have seen on the golf book underneath it says a picture of the two of us together. And I've got a huge version of it. It says one of the world's greatest golfers pictured here with Seve Ballesteros. And I don't wish to go into the details of the golf too much, but it's a thing called Texas Scramble, where you all drive off, and wherever the best place is, you then play the next all 4 play off the same place. And the other two went off into the woven forests, like the red arrows left and right. Seve knocked his down the middle behind the tree, and I knocked mine about 120 yards down the middle, so we used mine. And I was quite scared of the whole thing, and it was almost bowing to Seve to start with, Mr. Seve Ballesteros. But about 4th hole, I got quite cocky, and I was calling him Sev. And he gave a fantastic shot, and I said, "Oh, great shot." And he turned around and went, "No, it's good, it's not great." You know that moment when you know you've made a mistake? So I didn't say anything at all. We got the 18th, which was a very long hole, which to get onto the green you need 3 good shots. But Seve hit a great drive, and then I thought, well, I'll try my driver off the fairway, and actually went on the green miles away in front of a large crowd, of course. And Seve, this god, suddenly said, "It's Tim, it's a good shot." I found myself saying, "No, I'm sorry, that was a great shot." And you can see him translating it in his mind, a big smile on his face. Lovely man, lovely man.
Ever been lucky enough to get a hole in one?
Yes, one.
Excellent.
I don't tell people it was downhill. It was 231 yards, and if you're a golfer, you say a 2-iron, even pros are impressed. Except it is. And it is. I used to think it was sheer luck till I got one. Actually, it is sheer luck to get it in. You've more chance if you're going to go towards it, but if you see people chipping onto the green, it hits the pin and it bounces off most of the time, so it is luck. But yes. Nowhere near again, unfortunately. There's a thing in golf, if they think your handicap is too good or whatever, they call you a bandit. I haven't been called a bandit for 15 years. It's the wrong side. But of course, my good golfing chum, Alice Cooper, knew a radio show that day. And when people say, "Oh, it's such a stuffy thing," I said, "Well, Alice and I don't think that." And he is a very, very good golfer.
Is there anyone that you'd really like to play with?
So I was about to go down a mucky.
Go ahead, be mucky.
I'm not particularly now. I don't think I got good enough to really enjoy it with someone who's really good. I just love going around. It gets me out and gets me walking, and it's just good fun. They're nice places to be, but I can't totally justify them. They're much better places than they used to be. They were really old-fashioned in the worst sense of the word. And I used to have these big fights over silly things like you had to wear long socks with shorts. And you think, I don't want to look like a dodgy scoutmaster. And I used to have this fight. And this my particular club, and they all said, no, we want to keep certain standards. So eventually I got them to do a vote, and it was 70-30 in favour of short socks. So, you know, the old-fashioned guys really don't know. And they just don't want to let it go somehow. And I don't know what the difference now is that quite a lot of them are quite pushed to get new members, so suddenly they're being a bit more sensible. My wife actually was on the first woman on the board of the golf club, which was a fairly impressive thing. They asked her, what do you think about this? She's about these short socks. Well, to be honest, when I see you all wearing those long socks, I think you all look like prats. I was really proud of it.
Going back to the comedy a little bit, I asked other people if they wanted to sort of put some questions in, and I got a response from David Pontek saying, what are the best and worst things about being a goodie?
It's a good question. She's a bright lad. The worst things, in a way, is that you were a goodie, basically. On the way up here, stopped to get some petrol and got a drink. And the woman said, he won't know who you are, to the younger person. And it's sort of odd in a way to have that feeling that at one stage you were so well known, which was actually too much if you wanted a private life. And then now there are moments you quite like to be, because you can help in certain charities and things like that. It's actually quite useful to be well known. I mean, being a goodie is a very good, I'm very proud of that. And the fact that we were able to work together as a team for so long and do things like Top of the Pops and, I don't know, do the books we did, and it was just such a wonderful time that there's so few people who are given the chance. A lot of people with a huge amount of talent. I know that when I've done sort of plays and with actors who are never going to be well known, but are so good, or even in pantomime, there are people who can sing and dance, and you know they're not going to get anywhere, but they deserve to, and it's just sheer chance whether they make that breakthrough. So one is grateful for what one's been given, if you like, and the only thing that I can say in our favour is that we did work quite hard to keep it, which is, you know, that's the other thing. Don't accept it. The bad side is, well, I suppose it's the fact you were a goodie, and one isn't to most people, you aren't a goodie now. I don't know what you're talking about, they say, and then others do say. And the other bad side of the goodie is the BBC not repeating them. I think I'm playing to a home audience.
You may have the crowd on your side on this one, but we definitely agree with you there.